Welcome. Thanks for watching. As a transformation coach, I'm constantly working with clients to improve the quality of life. And that quality stems from, body, mind, and spirit. Also, in conjunction with that, a lot of times the issues and challenges a lot of my clients are facing are due to financial challenges. So aside from being a transformation coach, I'm also a licensed financial advisor and insurance agent. I've been doing this for over 10 years. So I've seen a lot in my time. There's probably everything under the sun that I've been exposed to as far as situations go. So today I want to talk a little bit about the importance of life insurance and why I believe that everyone needs it. So I come across, a lot of objections of why I don't feel like I need life insurance. I kind of want to address those and kind of dismantle them one by one. So here are the top 10 reasons or objections I often hear why someone feels they don't need life insurance. So I'm going to give you my responses as to why, if you fall into one of those 10 objections, why I believe you still should have some life insurance. So here we go. Number one, Latif, I'm too young. I don't need life insurance right now. I'll get that later on when I'm a little older. Sounds good, sounds great, but that's based on the idea of you actually know when you're going to die. And if you do know, let me know so we can bottle that and sell it. No one has a crystal ball. No one knows when they're going to die. It does not matter how long your parents lived or how long your grandparents lived. There is no guarantee that you will live the same longevity that they may have had. One of my mother's favorite, jokes is, how do you make God laugh? Tell him your plans. So saying I'm too young is one of those, plans where you're telling God, I'm too young to need life insurance. The reality of life, and it's sad but true, babies die every single day. Toddlers die, adolescents die, teenagers die, young adults die, middle-aged people, and of course senior citizens and elderly people die every single day. There is no guarantee that you're going to become one of those elderly people. I'll share a quick story with you. One of my best friends in college and frat brothers as well. His father died in his, I believe, mid-40s, overweight, diabetes, high blood pressure, that sort of thing. So this dear friend of mine was trying to, circumvent the same fate that his father had. So he wanted to extend his life, hopefully beyond his 40s. In college, he was always a little chubby on that side, but he was active in the band and student government, doing step shows and things of that nature. So, he was able to maintain it. After graduating, he had a desk job as an accountant, and of course the pound starts to stick on because you're no longer as physically active. So he tried exercising, working out. I worked out with him. He still was not getting the results he wanted. So he opted to get stomach bypass surgery, made it successfully through the surgery. Unfortunately, about 30 days later, he had a blood clot that went from his leg to his heart, died in the middle of the night. He died at the age of 29 years old, okay? So here's a guy who was trying to extend his life beyond where his father's age was in the 40s, and instead, he shortened his life by passing away at the age of 29. So you are never too young to have life insurance. Everyone should have some in place, all right? Number two. Why would I insure my kids, my children? This is always a tricky subject to approach. People feel, it's somewhat of a morbid conversation to have. They don't want to feel like they're jinxing their children. The reality is, your children should probably have life insurance even before they are born, all right? There are insurance companies where you can get a child rider on, one of the parents' policies, and when that's in place, that covers any currently existing children as well as future children should that wife or woman, become pregnant. And one, that helps her through that child pregnancy stage as well as the childbirth process as well. Yes, most childbirths nowadays are very safe, at least here in the US. But still, it is a serious process for some women and can have, catastrophic results sometimes. Also, children can be born with certain birth defects. Again, back to my earlier statements, we have SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. You do not know. Obviously, we pray and hope that everyone has healthy children, but the world we live in, we know that it's not always the case. If you don't like thinking of a life insurance policy on your child as a life insurance policy to protect them against death, generally speaking, you can't buy term insurance on children, so you're buying some sort of whole life or universal life policy anyway. Think of it as a nice savings plan for that kid to help them to go to school or college, to help them start a business one day, and just gives them the protection of, God forbid, they do develop a childhood illness or sickness or do die as a child. The parents, the family have some money to help cover those costs and protect that child. So yes, insure your children. It doesn't have to be huge policies, obviously, unless there's some sort of kid star and they have an income and making a lot of money, but they should be insured. What you're doing is locking in that insurability. And a lot of times with certain policies, depending on how you structure it, you can have guaranteed insurability options, meaning they can take over the policy when they're older and they can increase the death benefits amount at certain increments, again, to ensure that they're properly insured. So that dismantles the second objection. Number 3, I have no dependents. Why do I need life insurance? Well, the question then becomes, do you ever intend to have any dependents? Do you ever plan on getting married? Do you ever expect to have any children? Simply because you may not have any dependents right now does not mean you should not have some type of life insurance. Again, if you were to die, you don't want to have to stick your family with the bill to get you buried or cremated or whatever, take care of those arrangements for you. You want to have some protection in place so that as your life evolves and your situation changes, you already have some insurance in place. Again, anytime you're applying for life insurance, insurance companies want to know your insurability, meaning they put you through an assessment. They want to know what the risk is, and they will determine your premiums based on how healthy you are. They also look at siblings and parents and other family members that could possibly affect your insurability. So even if you don't have dependents, you have to be thinking forward and into the future to say, yes, I do, in the next 5, 10, whatever amount of years, plan to start a family. Maybe I should have some life insurance in place now, so when I do get married or whatever the case may be, I'm not coming to the table empty-handed. I already have something in place. And as you're, we call them life-changing events, getting married, starting a business, having children, buying a home, all these are significant things that can impact your finances, and therefore you should have some insurance. In those situations, at that point, you just try to get some more insurance. But also, even if you don't intend to get married or have children, a lot of us are now faced with situations where a parent is ill or sick. They have to move into the house with us and we have to care for that person. Well, guess what? They're now a dependent, okay? Siblings, it does not matter. So you should have some insurance in place on yourself, regardless of whether you currently have dependents or not. I have no debt. Sounds pretty good. I have no debt. If I die, no one has any bills to pay on my behalf. I don't need it. Yeah, okay, maybe you don't have any debt today. Just because you don't have any debt today does not mean you won't have some debt in the future. People who may be doing financially well may start businesses one day. If you start a business, you don't want to dig in your pocket and take out all your savings and start a business. Chances are you're going to go to a bank and get a bank loan. You're going to create an LLC or something to protect your personal assets. Guess what? That is now debt. You have to leverage that debt. You should have some life insurance in place. Wealthy people who may not have debt still tend to have life insurance. Why? Because it's pennies on the dollars. Yes, maybe I have millions of dollars, but why not pay, a small premium, assuming you're healthy? And if I die, rather than having my dependents or survivor, spouse or whatever, have to dig into our assets, they, guess what? Got additional money coming in from this life insurance policy to obviously maintain that quality of life and standard of living. So regardless of whether you have debt or not, today should not be the primary factor or reason as to why you don't have life insurance. You need to have some. Latif, I got insurance through my job. I'm covered. I'm good. Again, I applaud you. I'm glad you have a job where you have some life insurance in place. I consider that icing on the cake. The reason why, majority of times, if you have insurance through your employer, it does not belong to you. It is not truly yours. It is yours as a benefit of being an employee of that company. The moment you quit, the moment you transfer jobs, the moment you are laid off or terminated, and I'm talking about job security, no one has true job security. Companies are in business to make profit, and the moment they have an opportunity to increase profit, or the moment some new technology comes along that makes your job obsolete, guess what? You're out of a job. That company is there to make money, and as part of you being an employee, you have the benefit of having that life insurance, which oftentimes is pretty inexpensive. So if you have it as an option, I definitely encourage you to take advantage of it, but do not depend on that as your sole source of life insurance. You need to have your own personal policy, again, for the reasons of anytime you're applying for personal insurance, that insurance company wants to know their risk, okay? You have to be insurable. So once you have your own policy though, then your rates are locked in. They cannot change it on you should you have any kind of illness or your health change for the worse. You already have something that belongs to you, regardless of whether you're working or not working, all right? Have some personal insurance. Another good one I get, insurance through the military. I'm a military active duty member. I got SGLI, or I'm a retired member. I got VGLI, I'm covered, I'm good. Yes, I served in the military, in the Navy for 10 years. I had SGLI insurance, great insurance. The thing is, it's service members group life insurance. The group means, one, it's term. Two, you have to be a member of that group to be eligible for it. Even if you have VGLI, Veterans Group Life Insurance, okay, I'm a veteran, I served, I still have access to this type of insurance. Assuming you're young and healthy, the rates are normally pretty inexpensive. Again, if you can afford it, take advantage of it. Do not for 1 second mistake that to be the same as a personal life insurance policy, okay? VGLI, SGLI, as you get older, will get more expensive. Again, because you do not own it, those rates can be renegotiated at any given time, typically on an annual basis, and those rates can and will go up as the needs demand, okay? So again, great insurance to have. Another aspect of what happens to military guys, they don't necessarily get killed in action. They may get injured while in the service. They may develop a disability, which one can impact their military career. Sometimes it's so bad that you're forced to have to resign or separate from the service. And now guess what? I'm out here searching for a civilian job, and because of this disability, I may not be able to get personal life insurance anymore, all right? These are important things to look at. Get it while you are fairly young, healthy. The better you are, the cheaper it's gonna be. Have your own personal policy so that regardless of my active duty service or retirement after service or separation after service or my health, my insurance policy cannot be impacted by that. All right, I don't need it. That's a common objection. I just don't need it. For whatever reason in their minds, I don't need it. What that typically means is I don't really care. I'm only thinking about myself. You know, my surviving spouse or my surviving children or my parents or whomever is going to take care of my dead body when I pass. That's their problem, okay? That is one of the worst excuses ever. It shows you really don't care about others. It shows that, hey, I'm only in this for me. And that's not how you want to be remembered. You do not want to leave that financial burden on someone else to mess up their quality of life because they can't pay their bills or they get behind on their bills, and it has a ripple or domino effect because this person didn't have insurance. So now family members have to dig in their pockets and try to come up with money to take care of this person when they pass, all right? Think about it this way. If you drive a car, by law, you have to have auto insurance. If you own a home, by law, you have to have homeowners insurance, okay? The reason that is the law is because not because these people are concerned about your life, they're concerned about their investments. If you're paying or mortgaging or financing a car or a home, the banks want to protect their investment, so that's why you have to have that insurance. But what do you think is more important than any of those insurances? Life insurance. The corporations, the government leaves that up to you. You have to be concerned about your own life, and because we don't know when we're going to pass, to me, life insurance is more important than all of those. Get some, protect yourself. I don't want a funeral. You know what? leave me on the side of the road, cremate me, or whatever. Having life insurance isn't just about a funeral procedure or process, okay? Regardless of your religious beliefs, when you pass, there's left this, 100 and something pound, or 200 something pound, or 300 something pound body laying there that someone has to remove and dispose of. There are costs associated with that. So, again, the unselfish thing to do, the honorable thing to do is to have some insurance in place, regardless of how elaborate of a funeral you may want to have. Take care of, those costs for your loved ones so they're not stuck footing the bill for you. Can't afford. Good objection. A lot of people say I can't afford it. As a life insurance agent, I do a lot of, needs analyses. So I look and I do some computations, calculations to determine how much insurance does this person or this family need. All right. Based on that, I normally give a recommendation of here's how much insurance we ideally think you should have. Sometimes, based on that amount, people truly can't afford that amount. Now, just because you can't become fully insured to the amount that you should have does not mean you can't afford to purchase something. So if you need $1.5 million of insurance, but I can only afford a $250,000 amount of insurance based on, the premium, get that. Lock that in place, again, while you are young and healthy. Then as your situation evolves, maybe you get a job promotion, maybe you make some more money, whatever, get an inheritance or something. Maybe then I can purchase more insurance down the road. If I get married, maybe I have some additional income coming in from a spouse. Whatever the case may be, generally speaking, people's finances get a little bit better, and in time you can purchase more insurance when that time happens. One other quick story here. I worked with a real estate developer who, again, did extremely well, was wealthy, and made a lot of money, didn't really have a strong need for insurance. What happened to him was 2008, real estate market crashes, his business comes to a standstill, no one's building anymore, so he's not having that same income coming in that he was used to. To add insult to injury, now that his business is struggling, and let's say he shut it down and went bankrupt, he still would have been financially okay. But right around the same time, guess what? He gets diagnosed with cancer. So now you no longer have a thriving business, he no longer has money coming in, and now you also been diagnosed with cancer. So guess what? Now he has to go dig into those savings, dig into those 401ks, dig into those IRAs, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on medical expenses and surgery. He had some kind of nose cancer that traveled up his nose and was going up towards his brain. And I'm not a doctor, but to my understanding, if that cancer would have hit his brain, got through one of the fissures in his skull, it's pretty much game over at that point in time. So he had a series of surgeries. They almost removed this guy's entire nose, but then, used some other bone tissue to try to rebuild and restructure the nose. Long story short, lots of money, lots of expenses. And guess what? His wife, because he had such a great business, his wife never really worked. She was a homemaker. So she really had no, skill sets. She can go out and make any decent money to remotely compensate for the loss of money he had suffered due to the market crash. So again, there was not a foreseeable need based on his current situation, but again, we don't have crystal balls. We don't know what tomorrow brings. He should have had more insurance and locked in that insurability while he could. Now, of course, he sees the importance of having that life insurance, but guess what? He's not very insurable. You have to wait a certain number of years before most insurance companies would even look at you. And guess what? It's going to be a whole lot more expensive at that point in time, even if you can't afford it. Last but not least, and this is probably the best excuse for why I don't feel like I need life insurance. I'm not healthy enough / I'm too old. That is perhaps the best excuse or objection for why, I shouldn't have life insurance. The reality is, if you're not healthy enough, it's probably for a reason. You should have got a life insurance a long time ago. Or if you're too old, again, you should have had it a long time ago. But hey, we are where we are. Even if that is the case where no one wants to insure me because I'm not healthy enough, and insurance companies are in it to make money. It is a business. So if you're not healthy and they feel you're too much of a health risk, then guess what? They don't want to insure you. With that said, there are still some companies out there that specialize in those markets, And sometimes you get insurance that does not require any underwriting. They don't look at your insurability. They tend to be a lot more expensive, but you can get some small policies that will help cover, funeral expenses, those types of things. You're not going to get the same bang for your buck based on the premiums and based on your age and your health, obviously, but it is probably something. So you sit down, you crunch the numbers, work with a professional to try to determine, what's the best type of insurance I can get at this stage of my life, and do what you can. All right. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you learned something here. Again, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.